Rolling. I'm rolling. We're rolling. And we're rolling. Hey, how's it going? This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. I'm your host, Jeremy. It is August 5th. Glad to be back in the studios here at All Points TV. Got John, man behind the cam. He's actually over there, not there. But
yeah, we changed things up and made it harder for people. We used to be able to look at you directly, but we turned it so we can put the green screen up. So anyway. We confused everybody.
Yes, but we're here to clear up confusion. That's what the show is for, right?
Yeah, about the medical marijuana issue especially, probably. Not all issues unless you want to take calls. And
right.
It might be a good thing maybe to add on maybe a advice section.
I've got Google.
You've been around for a while, and you got observations on life, married life, and business and stuff. So you could answer field questions.
We need to type up a disclaimer first. Yeah.
I'm sure people would listen to you and not screw up too bad. But.
Right on. Well, I appreciate the compliment there, John, but we'll stick to the news today. Hey, we do have some stuff about medical marijuana we want to talk about. Also, of course, we want to talk about the Genesee County Compassion Club, let you know what's happening down there, and get you up to date with everything. Man, it is beautiful out. It's summertime, and the temperature is just perfect, is what it is. So if you guys aren't getting out there, you need to. And I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of white faces in the club. I can tell you've been spending too much time in your indoor gardens. Don't let the summer pass you by. All right? That's what I got to say. But anyways, things are going good at the club, and it's rocking down there. We had a fantastic July. Of course, we had our big 710 party. It was our first ever, and it turned out to be fantastic. We had like 710 people show up. Seriously, 710 people. It's awesome, and it's...
How big of an area is that?
Freaking ironic.
You're packed, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, throughout the day, that's a count, total in and out the door, and of course we're there all day long. So, but anyway, we were busy. It was a fun party, and I definitely look forward to doing it again next year. It was sweet. Kudos to Brian and the staff. You guys made that happen. You did a fantastic job, and of course, you members, you rocked. So, thanks for coming out. The support, and it was fun. Other stuff that we had going on in the month of July, of course, we had our Adopt a Highway. We rocked that out. Teams out there joined up, and we cleaned up M13, which has been our section now for like 5 years. So that highway is really clean. But it's done, and thank you to the volunteers that came out and helped out. And it was a nice walk in the park. You know what I mean? It's an easy walk now. It's pretty clean. We're going to have another one coming up here in September, and I'll let you know more information about that once we get closer. But at any rate, the last one of the year is always fun. The temperature's down. It's usually nice weather, and we've already cleaned the highway twice, so it's a nice, easy time. And I'd encourage you, if you haven't done it before, maybe think about that, marking that down. It's just a couple hours on a Saturday morning, and it's a good thing to do. So
yeah, it's like now you got two sections that you clean, right?
We have slimmed that down, John. We had to back off on the dirt highway.
Yeah, because that was really rough.
It was really rough, and I think the problem there is that we had picked a section of the highway that was it's almost dangerous the way that the traffic is right there. I don't know if it's the best spot to have people alongside of the road picking things up. It's not a real good, differentiation between where the road is and where the ditch is. It's kind of runs in together. So
it's really kind of rundown area of Dillard Highway too.
Well, I mean, hey, we were trying to go to an area that we could really make an impact on, and I think we did that. We cleaned that section of highway for I think 2, maybe even 3 years. So we certainly made an impact, and it was also right in front of where all the scrap yards are. So there's a tremendous amount of trash in that area, and it still looks nicer today because of what we did. But we had to kind of recant on that, and now we're just doing the M13 so that it's not too much to bear for our members. You got to remember, a lot of folks out there that are doing this along the road cleanup, walking 2 miles, they're disabled, they're patients. So it's a lot to ask of them, and we want to keep that in mind. So, but anyway, we just do M13 now. We're going to be doing it again in September. And if you haven't done it before, it'd be a good time to come out and do it. It'll be nice and easy, and like I said, it should be good weather. Hopefully it will be. But other stuff that we had go on in July, of course, we had our soup kitchen. Mr. Matt, you rocked it out as always. And of course, we'll have our soup kitchen again coming up here in August. It is the last Friday of the month, just so you can put that down on your calendars, which is the 28th. And we'll be serving over at the North End Soup Kitchen. I got to tell you, I had a testimony today from one of my patients. She is one of the less fortunate people in life, and she gets some assistance from the Catholic Charities they were able to assist her with her electric bill, which she is in a dire situation where, consumers are about to cut off her power. And thanks to the Catholic Charities Association there, they were able to help her out and get her back on track with her electrical bills, and so that she can continue to have electricity. So, the work that we do down there at the soup kitchen and the continued support that we're able to, extend to them through our members, through you guys, it definitely goes out and helps out people. It's really, really cool to see that happen. Not just at the soup kitchen, but all around the Genesee County area. So they're definitely a positive organization to support. Whether or not you're religious, this isn't about going to church and stuff like that. This is about common mankind helping out each other, because that's the right thing to do no matter what, right? Right?
I think it is, but I think, I often question.
Are there any religions out there that say that, you're not supposed to help out somebody else?
Well, actually, I think it's like I don't
think there are.
I think there are actually some church that make it more incumbent upon the person to help people who are followers of the same religion. Or Catholic charity group that I've seen, they don't ask questions of any concern about that whatsoever.
They're not. They're out to help people. So, and that's an awesome thing that we're able to do, helping out because of you guys, because of you members chipping in and making it happen. So thank you. All right, that's it for those kinds of events. We did discuss a new event coming up here. We're going to start getting this together, and I'm kind of letting the cat out of the bag. So if you're watching the podcast, you might actually learn something that no one else is really talking about yet. We're looking at doing a new kind of sort of festival day at the club in the month of October. And as you well know, in October, around the world, really now it's sort of spread around, is the well-known festival of Oktoberfest. And we have a little tradition in the club, and some people already know about this, some don't. But when the outdoor season comes, meaning that the crops that are grown, the cannabis plants that are grown outdoors, come into harvest and are taken down, it's usually around the month of October. And typically, that has an impact. We see a lot more people in the club. We're able to see a lot more varieties. And of course, we get to hear about these outdoor gardens. And I got to tell you, this year, I have seen a number of photos of people's outdoor gardens. And I am seeing craftsmanship in these gardens that I have never seen before. This stuff here is rivaling stuff that I've seen previously out in California and in Washington, Colorado. We're talking high class, nothing held back. These people are really putting it together nicely. So I think that we're going to see some incredible outdoor medicine come in this year. And in the spirit of the outdoor season and in spirit of October and harvest season, of course, we've got the growing centers. We've got real food being harvested as well. All right, I'll get on with it. We're going to be doing an Outdoberfest. So we're going to be celebrating, like I said, the outdoor season, the harvest season, the fall season, Oktoberfest, where we're going to wrap it all up into one awesome celebration. And we're looking forward to putting that together. We're talking about putting some different contests out there, such as like maybe the person who can bring in the largest outdoor cannabis stalk. Like maybe the biggest around, or maybe the longest, maybe just the largest stalk you could think of. Also maybe like the largest outdoor bud. When you see cannabis plants that are grown outdoors and they've got the real power of the sun coming in, it doesn't compare to what we do indoors as far as light power goes. And so obviously your plants get the benefit of that, and you end up having increased size. There's just no comparison between outdoor size and indoor size. And so we want to see what you can do. We want to see some of these guys come in. I'm sure there's also going to be some extremely high quality as well, not just size. But we're going to make this into sort of a contest, and we want to see, like I said, we're going to have some prizes out there. We're going to have some different events and stuff planned like we normally do, kind of like what we do with our 420 party and our 710 party. So, like I said, we're just putting this together. I'm not even going to give you a date yet. I just wanted to wet your whistle, get you guys talking about it, get you outdoor gardeners maybe talking about it. You got to get words out to these guys. They're outside right now. You don't see them. They're knee deep in dirt and water and stuff and so on. So you got to get the word to them. But yeah, this is going to be fun. I am looking forward to this event, Outdoberfest. Let's start talking about this. Dude, I've seen stalks before on a cannabis plant that rivaled small trees. So, I want to see what you guys can do. This will be cool. The cannabis is an amazing plant, and to be able to utilize and harness the free power of the sun is a beautiful thing. I'm so glad that we actually have a clear definition in the state law of how you can utilize and produce medicine in an outdoor setting, because I think because of that, we've had that clarity put out there. I think because of that clarity, people have been able to actually put forth a real investment into their outdoor crops, and now we're going to be able to see the fruit of that. We started to see it last year, and this year I think you're really going to see it. So, Outduberfest. This is going to be awesome. Get ready, guys. That's what I'm saying. All right, I got some news I wanted to share with you today. A little bit happening here in the state of Michigan. I know we've been talking a lot about the different proposals and stuff, but today we want to talk about some other items and get you up to date with what else is happening, in particular in regards to our medical marijuana law. If you guys don't remember, there is a section in the law where you can petition the state to add on medicinal conditions to be added to the list of qualifying conditions for medical marijuana. So we have already had a panel formed at the state level, and they review these petitions, and then they make a decision. So most of you guys have probably heard about that. If not, well, there's that. That's how that works. At any rate, they had recently put together a panel to review the condition or the symptom of autism. And I am happy to say that the panel has made a positive recommendation to adding autism as a qualifying condition to Michigan's medical marijuana program. Michigan is one of the few states, I think there's only one other state, which is California, which they leave that up to the doctor's discretion, but Michigan is really a leader in this and stepping forward and allowing this to be used as an alternative medication for this particular symptom. There's numerous different types of medicinal reports out there, educated, people that have put this material out there, not just folks that are in the stoner world, but people that actually have, backgrounds, degrees, and experience, doctors, and so forth, have put out research about how this does have a positive effect on folks who are suffering from autism, particularly children, minors, that are suffering from this. We see this as a symptom that is actually growing in our country. It seems that every day we're hearing more and more about autism and other aspects of autism, like Asperger's disease and so forth. We're seeing that unfortunately it happens more often than it used to in the past, or at least we're able to identify it more readily now. And of course, people are out there looking for solutions to this. They want to see what is available for their children that are affected by this, and there are a lot of different treatments out there that are offered through traditional medicinal practices. There's also a tremendous amount of holistic types of methods and approaches that can be used to treat autism, and now there's going to be one more, which is medical marijuana. So I think this is a fantastic development within the state of Michigan, and I definitely applaud the panel for adding this condition and for having a positive light. I think that there was definitely a debate going on whether or not there was enough empirical or medicinal evidence available to support adding this as a condition. And I think the overall mentality was simply that, I think there is more positivity in allowing this to be used as a treatment than in not allowing it. Because as we need to remember, cannabis is relatively benign. I mean, it's not something that if you try it, there's going to be harmful side effects that are going to go along with it, so it may not be worth the try. The side effects that go along with cannabis, like I said, are relatively mild. The plant is benign, it's non-toxic, non-lethal in any dose, in any manner in which it's administered. And so, I think they made the right decision, because I think when you look at it in that light, you could pretty much consider cannabis use as a treatment therapy for just about any condition out there in which it may be applied. So hopefully they'll continue with that mentality. Hopefully they'll continue with that approach as we continue to petition the state to add on more conditions. I know that PTSD was rejected in the past. I hope that maybe that can be resubmitted and potentially re-looked at as a qualifying condition. There have been other additions that have been made, and I'm trying to remember, John, I don't know if you remember either. There was another condition that was added onto the qualifying conditions list for Michigan. Happened about 2 years ago, and I'm trying to remember what condition it was.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember you covering it, but I
think it might have been Parkinson's.
Yeah, I think Parkinson's. Yeah, that could have been it. Okay. One of them.
You guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys want to call in, you got the number on the screen. But at any rate, the panel has made a positive recommendation for autism, so we look forward to the state adding that on. The director of the program, I think, has yet to put his panel seal on there. In fact, let me get to the story here. This is from, let's see here. This is from Chris Lindsay, who is a legislative let me read here. Chris Lindsay, who is a legislative analyst with Medical Marijuana Policy Project, Marijuana MPP. He posted here, late last week, the Medical Marijuana Review Panel recommended adding autism as a qualifying condition for Michigan's medical marijuana program. Director Mike Zimmer will now consider whether or not to add the condition to the list of qualifying medical conditions for the state's program. So we do have yet to have the director sign off on this yet. The panel itself has made the positive recommendation that it be added. It was done with the panel voting a 4-2 vote in favor of adding the condition. And they're saying right now that, autism affects nearly 1 in every 68 children. So it's a pretty big pool of people there. You think about that. And that's according to the CDC. So, it says here, if it is accepted, in fact, Michigan will be the first medical marijuana state to include autism in the list of qualifying conditions. So, like I said, California by default, because they leave it up to the doctor's discretion on all conditions, it is simply up to the doctor, and they can do whatever they want for any condition out there. Like you could get cannabis for PMS, or for a headache, or for any number of things, as long as the doctor says yes. So in California. Here in Michigan, you have to have a certain condition, and the doctor has to say yes. So now we have autism added as a condition if the director of the program signs off. So really, with the panel themselves making that vote and voting in favor, voting to add it on, it'd be highly unlikely that the director would not take the recommendation of the panel. So hopefully we'll see the director, Mike Zimmer, follow through on this. And of course, I will keep you updated in future podcasts and let you know, and hopefully be able to confirm that this has been, in fact, officially added on. But right now, the panel voted. Kudos to the panel, and hopefully we can get some more conditions added on there, because we know that cannabis can be used effectively for a whole heck of a lot more than what the state currently has listed. So, but that's good news. That's good stuff. All right, got another story here for you. This is a follow-up to a previous story we covered. We talked about in the past, and we've covered this on the show a number of times. We're talking about civil asset forfeiture. This is when the cops come in and basically they start seizing people's assets. They take them, and many times, often, they're not given back. Many times they're often sold at a police auction for profit, profit for that particular police department that did the seizing. But at any rate, getting back to the story itself, there was a case here in Michigan where a woman who was a patient, also a caregiver, was raided by police. They took her belongings, and along with her personal belongings, also took her personal massage unit. And we're happy to report that personal massage unit has now been ordered by a judge to be returned back to its rightful owner. So everyone can rest now. Justice has been served, and we can go back to self-pleasure. All right? Civil effort, sizzle. Talking about vibrators got me all worked up. Sizzle asset forfeiture. Got my sizzle ass forfeiture. Civil. I can't
assets?
even say it now.
Civil assets?
Yes, thank you.
Assets? No.
Yeah, civil asset forfeiture. Yes. No. The case here is, like I said, she got it back according to the court order. Jennifer, however you say her name, Hensey, and her lawyer, Michael Comorn. Kudos to Mr. Comorn again for rocking it. Got the news early Wednesday morning that the marijuana case against her was dropped, and her items that were seized through civil forfeiture would be released. So, let your massage unit go. Oh. Interesting stuff there. All right, last story I want to follow up with this week. This is man, I had that just lingering in my lungs for like about a half an hour now. It's just coming back. I don't know what that was. I'm missing some.
You want some water, or you?
No, I'm good. It's just a little bit of concentrate coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, hang on a second. Oh, there we go. All right, last story here. Medical marijuana oil extraction, suspected cause of fire that killed dogs. Sad story here. Don't really need to get into it much further, but obviously, folks, the moral of the story here is be careful. All right, if you're working with butane and you're doing oil extraction, you need to have proper ventilation, folks. The stuff is a gas, and it does burn. and it burns very quickly. So you need to make sure that if you're doing this at home, or if you're doing it, at the workshop, wherever it is that you're doing your processing at, and I understand that there's a lot of processing going on lately, we need to make sure that you guys are doing it correctly, because I can tell you right now in Colorado, just recently, they passed a law that made home extraction illegal. All right, so if you want to see that happen here in Michigan, keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? We need to be setting the standard here, folks. If we're doing this for medicinal purposes, we're doing this for, as a profession in most cases, and whether or not you're doing it as a profession, you signed up either as a caregiver or you're trying to provide yourself with medication. So that's a pretty serious thing and needs to be done in a professional manner, and that includes taking the proper steps to make sure you're doing it safely. All right, the fumes that come from butane extraction are dangerous, and they can be easily managed with proper ventilation. All right, it is imperative that you do that. You do not want to do this inside an enclosed area whatsoever. It doesn't matter how large the area is. You need to have fresh air coming in and air getting pulled back out. All right, it's kind of like sitting in your garage with the garage door shut and the car running. You won't last long. You know what I mean? And this stuff here, accidents like this, are what gives everybody a bad name. It doesn't just shine on the bonehead who did this. It shines on everyone. And they say, as an industry, this is dangerous. It needs to be illegal. And if this continues to happen, believe me, folks, it's going to be illegal, and you will not be able to process your own extracts using butane at home. Not unless you're breaking the law.
I heard of some guy one time was stripping the woodwork around his house, and he was in an enclosed room, and it says right on the thing, he was using open, make sure it's a well ventilated area.
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, he peeled the paint off, and he was looking back to see around the room like how it looked, and he leaned back, he fired up a cigarette, and that's the last thing I remembered. He came to on the outside of the building. He actually got blasted right through the window.
Yeah.
And what it was, the fumes had built up so much that flame to set it off.
He basically had a bomb inside of his...
Luckily, all he had was a few scratches and a couple of bumps when he hit the ground.
He's lucky he's alive.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean... No, you're right, John. I mean, accidents happen, and that's the reason why you have to take the precaution to eliminate the possibility of that accident happening. And that's what you have to do. We need to set the standard. That's what I'm talking about. So if you're doing this professionally and you're doing it for medicinal purposes, which everybody should be doing it for those two reasons, then you need to do it as an example of what this is going to be about, because I'm telling you, it won't be long before somebody steps up at the state level and says, hey, we got to put the kibosh on this. Did you see Colorado did it? I mean, that's all it's going to take. And, it's something that needs to be considered too. This is a dangerous thing. So I'm not into having, excessive government regulation, and I wouldn't say like we need to have a law to eliminate home extraction, because I think people should have to, be responsible for themselves. And if you do something that hurts yourself, oh well. But this case here, you're working with something that could potentially hurt more than just yourself. You could hurt a lot of people. And so you got to really, really take precautions, be careful, and be an example, all right? So that we can say here in Michigan, hey, look, we're stepping up, and this is how we do things. We make sure that it's done right. And I think if we do that, maybe we can curtail having to need a law for something like that. You know what I mean? It'd be like if everybody just drove responsibly and we didn't have speed limits. Can you imagine that? Think about it for a second. All right. Those are the news stories I had for you this week. That's basically what's been happening here in Michigan. It's too beautiful to be paying attention to much more than that, quite frankly. I mean, hey, it's summertime. So, all right, guys, I'll be back here next time. You guys enjoy the club. Have fun. Be careful. Be safe out there. And make sure you get medicated. All right? John, thanks for being with me this week. I appreciate it. I know you had to come in from sunbathing.
Yeah, it's like, I was laying out before this, Right on. The neighbors are asking me to get the hell back in anyway, so. Get it, would you leave, okay?
Get out of here.
Get out of here. Stop doing that.
Oh, my word.
You don't have any kids, but we don't want to look at you. So.
There's no walruses in Michigan.
Thanks.
All right, guys, you have a wonderful week. Thanks for being here. This is the Genesee County Compassion Club show. Woo.
Hard time with that.